My beloved child, pause for a moment and listen with your spirit, not just your ears. Exactly at noon, when the sun stands still and the air feels strangely alert, heaven leans closer to the earth. This is not a poetic idea. This is not symbolism. This is a real, appointed moment. Archangel Michael has stepped forward with a warning and a promise, and it is meant specifically for you. Something powerful is being prepared to be placed into your hands, and this moment has already been reserved. Missing it is not about punishment. It is about timing. And timing, in the spiritual realm, is everything. You may feel it already. A quiet pressure in your chest. A sense that something is about to shift. For days, maybe weeks, your life has felt like it was on pause, like doors were half open but not moving. That was not delay. That was alignment. Heaven does not rush sacred transfers. When Archangel Michael speaks of noon, he speaks of clarity, exposure, and authority. Noon is the hour when shadows fall directly beneath things. Nothing hides. Nothing pretends. And that is why this message matters so deeply right now. Hear this clearly. What is coming is not random. It is not luck. It is not something anyone else can take from you. It has your name on it. But here is the part many people struggle with. This moment responds to attention. Ignoring it does not cancel God's power, but it can cause you to walk past what was meant to rest in your hands. Archangel Michael does not speak lightly when he says, "Be alert." He speaks as a guardian of thresholds, moments where heaven and earth briefly touch. You have been chosen not because you are perfect, but because you are willing. Even your doubts have been seen. Even your exhaustion has been counted. There were nights you wondered if all your prayers had fallen silent. But silence is not absence. Silence is often preparation. Right now, heaven is arranging circumstances, conversations, and inner confirmations that will converge at the right moment. And yes, it will feel sudden, but it will not be accidental. This is why the warning is gentle yet firm. Distraction is the enemy of destiny. Not sin, not failure. Distraction. When Archangel Michael says ignoring this could mean missing the blessing, he is speaking about spiritual awareness. You do not miss it because God withholds it. You miss it because your attention was pulled elsewhere when the signal arrived. That is why this message found you now, before the appointed hour, not after. There is something symbolic about your hands. Hands represent stewardship, responsibility, and readiness. What heaven places there is meant to be used, not admired. It may look like an opportunity, a decision, a resource, or a sudden release from something that has held you back. Do not limit God to one form. Often the most powerful blessings arrive wrapped in responsibility. Archangel Michael wants you to understand this so you do not reject it simply because it feels heavier than expected. Pay attention to what has been repeating in your life. The same thought, the same name, the same idea returning when you try to ignore it. That is not coincidence. That is heaven knocking softly before knocking loudly. Noon represents decision. Morning is preparation. Evening is reflection. But noon demands response. And when you respond, even with trembling faith, heaven responds with force. You may ask, why me? The answer is simple and profound, because you said yes in your spirit long before your mind caught up. Your obedience in small, unseen moments qualified you for this visible one. Archangel Michael stands as confirmation, not intimidation. His presence means protection surrounds this transfer. What is coming will not destroy you. It will strengthen you. It will clarify your path, not confuse it. Still, the choice remains yours. Heaven honors free will even when destinies evolve. That is why this message does not chase you. It invites you. Stay spiritually awake. Guard your focus. Quiet your inner noise. When the moment arrives, you will recognize it by the peace that accompanies it, even if your heart is racing. Do not share this lightly. Sacred moments are not for mockery or casual dismissal. They are for those who lean in, even when they do not fully understand. You are closer than you think. The handoff is near, and Archangel Michael wants you ready, not surprised. This is not fear. This is preparation. This is not pressure. This is positioning. And exactly at noon, heaven will move. My chosen one, there is a reason this message continues to unfold layer by layer. What heaven prepares does not arrive in isolation. It arrives with understanding. Archangel Michael now draws your attention to what happens inside you before the appointed moment arrives outside you. Many people think blessings fall from the sky, but in truth, they descend into prepared vessels. And preparation is not about perfection. It is about posture. Right now, your spirit is being adjusted, fine-tuned, and awakened so you do not mishandle what is coming. You may have noticed an unusual restlessness lately. Not anxiety, but an inner stirring. A sense that staying the same is no longer comfortable. That is not pressure from the world, that is heaven nudging you forward. Archangel Michael reveals that this stirring is a signal. When God is about to place something powerful into your hands, He first loosens your grip on what you have been holding too tightly. Old expectations, old fears, even old versions of yourself must relax their hold so your hands are free. This is why clarity is increasing. You are seeing people differently, situations differently. Even your own reactions surprise you. Things that once drained you now feel distant. Conversations that once mattered now feel hollow. This is not arrogance. This is discernment rising. At noon, when truth stands fully exposed, heaven does not want you confused about what to receive and what to release. Archangel Michael stands as a guard over this clarity so that deception does not mix with destiny. Understand this deeply. The blessing coming is connected to alignment, not effort. You have already done the work you were meant to do in this season. Striving more will not speed this up. Worrying more will not secure it. What heaven looks for now is agreement. Agreement means your spirit says, I am ready, even if your mind still has questions. Faith does not demand full explanation. It responds to divine timing. There is also a protective element surrounding this moment. Archangel Michael does not arrive when things are casual. He arrives when something valuable is in transit. That means resistance may increase around you. Not because you are losing ground, but because you are about to gain it. Subtle distractions, sudden busyness, random doubts that seem to come out of nowhere. None of these are accidents. They are attempts to pull your attention away from the signal heaven is sending. This is why awareness matters more than emotion right now. You do not need to feel spiritual. You need to be present. Some of the most powerful divine encounters happen in ordinary moments, during routine tasks, quiet pauses, or simple decisions. At noon, it may not look dramatic, but you will know. Something inside you will lock into place. A certainty will rise that does not need validation. That is how heaven marks its moments. Let me speak plainly. This message is not for everyone. Many will hear it and move on. Others will feel it but dismiss it. But you are still here, listening, leaning in. That itself is a sign. When Archangel Michael says this moment is reserved for the chosen, he is not creating division. He is revealing responsiveness. The chosen are not the loudest. They are the most attentive. Now hear this instruction with humility and confidence. Talk about this. Do not keep what resonates locked inside. When you like this message, when you share it, when you leave a comment declaring that your spirit is awake, you are not supporting a video, you are aligning with a message. Every interaction is an act of agreement. Subscribe to this channel if this voice confirms what God is already whispering to you. Become part of this community, because alignment grows stronger when faith is shared. Your action may be the very thing that anchors this moment in the natural realm. There is power in testimony, even before fulfillment. Heaven responds to faith expressed, not just faith felt. When you engage, you declare, I am present. I am ready. I am listening. And the declaration echoes louder than you realize. Others are watching. Others are being drawn in because of your obedience. As this unfolds, guard your peace. Do not argue with skeptics. Do not over-explain what God is doing. Sacred things do not require public approval. Archangel Michael reminds you that some confirmations are private, meant only for you and heaven. When the transfer happens, clarity will follow. You will not need to convince anyone. Fruit always speaks for itself. Before you move on, hold this thought close. Timing reveals ownership. What arrives early is not yours. What arrives late is not yours. But what arrives exactly on time carries your name, your measure, and your assignment. And you are closer now than ever before. Hold on, because what unfolds next will bring a level of understanding that ties everything together. My precious one, there are moments when heaven slows everything down so you can see what was always there. Archangel Michael now speaks with weight and tenderness, because what is unfolding is not just about receiving something new, but about understanding why this moment matters so much. Many people reach their blessing and never realize what they are holding. Heaven does not want that for you. This is why revelation is increasing now, before the transfer fully manifests. There is a pattern to how God moves. First he awakens, then he aligns. Finally he entrusts. You are standing between alignment and entrustment. This space can feel quiet, even heavy, because it is sacred. Archangel Michael reveals that heaven is watching how you steward anticipation. Anticipation reveals maturity. Do you rush ahead or do you remain steady? Do you grow anxious or do you grow attentive? These inner responses matter more than outward actions right now. You may feel like you are waiting, but in truth, something is already happening. Your spiritual senses are sharpening. You are discerning motives faster. You are less impressed by noise and more drawn to truth. That is not accidental. What heaven places in your hands at the appointed moment will require discernment to sustain. Blessings that come without wisdom can become burdens. That is why heaven always sends understanding ahead of manifestation. Archangel Michael also reveals that this moment carries generational significance. What you receive is not just for you. It will ripple forward. It will affect decisions, relationships, and directions beyond what you can currently see. This is why resistance has tried to wear you down before this point. If the enemy cannot stop what God has planned, he tries to exhaust the one chosen to carry it. But exhaustion does not disqualify you. Giving up would. And you did not give up. Hear this clearly, heaven does not tease. God does not hint without intention. If you are sensing that something powerful is about to be placed into your hands, it is because the handoff has already been approved. The timing is precise because the impact is precise. At noon, when clarity peaks, heaven wants you awake, not wondering if this is real. That is why this message is firm. Ignoring this moment does not anger God, but it can delay your awareness of what He has already released. There is also healing happening now, quietly. Old disappointments are losing their sting. Past prayers that seemed unanswered are being reframed. You are beginning to see that delay was not denial, it was development. Archangel Michael stands as a witness to this process, reminding you that nothing was wasted. Not one tear, not one night of confusion. All of it contributed to your readiness. Do not underestimate the simplicity of how this blessing may appear. Heaven often wraps power in humility. It may come as a conversation, an idea, an opportunity to step forward when you once would have stayed back. When it arrives, it will feel right, even if it feels challenging. Peace does not always mean comfort. Sometimes peace is the absence of resistance in your spirit. Let your heart remain soft. Let your mind remain alert. Let your expectations remain surrendered. This posture creates space for heaven to move freely. Archangel Michael assures you that protection surrounds this moment. What is placed into your hands will not be stolen, confused, or corrupted when received with humility. Now receive this prophetic activation. Type "I receive" the timing in the comments if your spirit is responding to this message. Blessing code 909 has just been released. And hear this with the same reverence you've given the message itself. When this word reaches you, it is not by accident. I am speaking to those who feel the weight of this moment and know it is bigger than themselves. When you choose to support this mission through super thanks, membership, or even a PayPal seed through the link in the description, you are not funding content. You are fueling revelation. You are placing oil in the lamp so this light continues to reach those who are still waiting for their awakening. The Lord says, as you sow into what feeds your spirit, I will cause rivers to rise where you once saw drought. This is a prophetic act of alignment, not a donation. I bless every giver now, declaring that what leaves your hand will return multiplied, marked by clarity and divine favor. Obey the stirring, act now, and let heaven witness your response. Beloved soul, as this message continues to open, Archangel Michael now shifts your focus from the moment itself to what follows immediately after. Many people are prepared to receive, but few are prepared to transition. Heaven is not only concerned with placing something powerful into your hands, it is equally concerned with what you do in the first moments after you receive it. Those first moments carry weight. They determine whether the blessing settles, multiplies, or remains dormant. There is often a sacred silence that follows a divine handoff. Do not misinterpret it. Silence after a miracle is not abandonment. It is stabilization. Archangel Michael reveals that heaven often withdraws the noise so the blessing can root itself deeply within you. This is why you must not rush to explain, announce, or prove what has happened. Some things grow best in hidden soil before they ever break the surface. You are being invited into a higher level of trust. Trust does not mean certainty about every step. It means confidence in the one who ordered them. After noon passes and the moment settles, you may feel an unusual calm paired with heightened responsibility. This is normal. Power entrusted always comes with stewardship. What you receive is meant to be carried with wisdom, not displayed for validation. Be aware that your environment may react before you fully do. People may sense a shift in you without knowing why. Conversations may change tone. Opportunities may suddenly present themselves in ways that test your discernment. Not every open door after this moment is meant to be entered. Archangel Michael cautions you to move deliberately, not impulsively. Speed does not equal obedience. This is where patience becomes protection. Heaven is not in a hurry, and neither should you be. When God accelerates something, He also stabilizes it. If something demands frantic urgency or feeds your ego rather than your assignment, pause. The blessing placed into your hands will carry peace, even when it stretches you. Pressure without peace is not from heaven. You may also notice an internal shift in how you see yourself. Old labels will feel inaccurate. Old limitations will feel exposed. This can be uncomfortable, because identity transitions often feel like loss before they feel like gain. Archangel Michael reminds you that shedding an old skin can feel vulnerable, but it is necessary for growth. Do not cling to versions of yourself that no longer fit where God is taking you. There is also a warning wrapped in grace here. Do not revisit old seasons for comfort. Nostalgia can become a subtle trap. What is ahead of you requires forward focus. Looking back too long can distort your perception of what is unfolding now. Remember the lessons, but do not live in the memories. The manna of yesterday will not sustain you today. Rest will become important. Not inactivity, but intentional rest. Receiving something powerful can tax your spirit if you try to carry it in your own strength. Archangel Michael emphasizes that rest is not weakness. It is partnership with God. When you rest, you declare trust. When you trust, heaven continues to supply. You may wonder how to know if you are stewarding this moment correctly. The answer is simple. Watch your fruit. Peace will increase, not decrease. Clarity will sharpen, not blur. Even challenges will feel purposeful rather than chaotic. When you remain aligned, heaven confirms through consistency, not confusion. This season is about embodiment, not announcement. Become what you have received. Let it shape your decisions quietly. Let it influence your responses gently. Over time, others will notice without you needing to explain. True authority does not introduce itself. It is recognized. Archangel Michael stands watch as this unfolds, not as a distant observer, but as a guardian of the process. You are not navigating this alone. Assistance is present even when unseen. The same heaven that prepared the moment is committed to sustaining what it released. Hold steady. Do not rush the outcome. Do not shrink from the responsibility. You were prepared for this even if it does not feel familiar yet. Familiarity will come with faithfulness. What is coming next will challenge how you understand timing even further, but it will also deepen your confidence that this is not coincidence. Stay open. Stay grounded. Stay listening. Chosen vessel. Archangel Michael now draws your attention to something many overlook after a divine moment passes, the test of consistency. It is one thing to recognize a sacred hour, but it is another to live in alignment with what that hour released. Heaven measures not only how you receive, but how you continue. What was placed into your hands at the appointed time now seeks expression through your daily obedience. This is where destiny quietly matures. You may notice that life does not suddenly become easier. In fact, certain challenges may become more defined. This is not opposition increasing, it is clarity increasing. When heaven entrusts you with something powerful, it also sharpens your awareness of what no longer fits. Archangel Michael reveals that this phase is about refinement, not resistance. God is trimming distractions, not removing joy. He is narrowing your focus so your strength is not scattered. There is a temptation in this season to look for dramatic confirmation every day. Resist that urge. Miracles announce beginnings, not maintenance. After the extraordinary moment comes ordinary faithfulness. This is where many lose momentum, not because they lack faith, but because they misunderstand the process. What you receive does not need to be constantly validated. It needs to be faithfully carried. Pay attention to your inner dialogue now. The voice that guides you forward will sound calm, steady, and clear. The voice that pulls you backward will sound urgent, fearful, and demanding. Archangel Michael urges you to discern between the two. Heaven never rushes you into confusion. When God speaks, even correction carries peace. This is also a season where boundaries matter deeply. Your time, energy, and attention are now more valuable than ever. Not everything deserves access to you. Not every request deserves a response. This is not selfishness. It is stewardship. What heaven placed into your hands must be protected from unnecessary exposure. Even Jesus withdrew when crowds demanded more than the moment required. You may feel misunderstood by some during this time. That is natural. Growth often creates distance before it creates understanding. Do not explain yourself to those who are not assigned to walk with you in this season. Archangel Michael reminds you that silence can be a form of wisdom. Let God defend what He initiated. Another subtle test may arise, the temptation to compare your journey with others. Resist it firmly. Comparison distorts perception. What heaven is doing with you is specific, intentional, and timed uniquely. Looking sideways will only pull you out of rhythm. Your pace is protected for a reason. Faster is not better. Blind is better. You are also learning to trust quiet confirmations. A settled heart. A repeated scripture. A consistent sense of direction. These are not small signs. They are strong anchors. Heaven does not always shout. Often, it whispers so only the attentive will hear. Archangel Michael affirms that your sensitivity is increasing, not weakening. You are learning to recognize God's voice without needing spectacle. Do not be surprised if old fears attempt to resurface. Fear often tries one last time before losing its influence. When it appears, do not wrestle with it. Acknowledge it, then return your focus to what God has already confirmed. Fear fades when it is not fed. This season also invites gratitude. Not forced gratitude, but grounded gratitude. Thankfulness keeps your heart open and your hands steady. It reminds you that what you carry is a gift, not a burden. Gratitude aligns you with heaven's flow and keeps pride and discouragement from taking root. Archangel Michael wants you to know that heaven is pleased with your posture. Even when you feel uncertain, your willingness to stay aligned speaks loudly. God is not asking you to have all the answers. He is asking you to stay available. Availability invites guidance. Guidance sustains momentum. As you move forward, expect gradual unfolding rather than instant completion. Seeds do not become trees overnight, but every day they are growing, even when unseen. Trust the process. Trust the timing. Trust the one who entrusted you. What lies ahead will require courage but not fear, strength but not striving, faith but not frenzy. You are learning to walk with what you have received, not run ahead of it. Remain steady. Remain humble. Remain attentive. The journey is far from over, and what unfolds next will deepen your understanding of why this moment was so carefully prepared. My beloved one, Archangel Michael now speaks into a phase that feels quieter on the outside but louder on the inside. This is the season where integration happens. What heaven released is no longer new, but it is becoming real in your daily life. Integration is when truth moves from revelation into rhythm. And rhythm is what sustains destiny over time. You may notice that your discernment has sharpened even more. Things you once tolerated now feel misaligned. Habits that once felt normal now feel heavy. This is not condemnation. This is calibration. Heaven is fine-tuning you so that what you carry is not diluted by compromise. Archangel Michael reminds you that purity of intention protects power. When your motives remain clean, heaven's backing remains strong. There is also a deeper invitation now, to trust God in the ordinary. Many people trust God in crisis but struggle to trust Him in consistency. Yet it is in consistency that authority grows. You are learning to walk without constant reassurance, to move forward without needing signs at every step. This is maturity. This is strength. This is evidence that heaven trusts you with greater responsibility. Do not be surprised if external affirmation decreases for a while. God sometimes removes applause so identity can solidify without it. If praise fueled you before, peace will fuel you now. Archangel Michael reveals that this internal stability is essential for what is coming next. You are being anchored so storms do not sway you. This is also a time when obedience becomes more subtle. You may feel prompted to speak less, listen more, act slower, or wait longer. These are not delays. They are strategic pauses. Heaven often moves fastest when it appears still. Trust the pauses. They are loading moments, not empty ones. Be mindful of fatigue not as a weakness, but as a signal. Rest is part of obedience in this season. Overextending yourself can blur discernment. Archangel Michael emphasizes that strength is sustained by balance. You do not need to prove anything to anyone. What God has entrusted to you does not require overexertion to remain valid. You may also feel a growing compassion for others who are still waiting, still confused, still searching. This compassion is not meant to pull you backward. It is meant to shape how you lead, speak, and respond. What you have received is not meant to isolate you but to equip you to love with wisdom rather than obligation. Now hear this clearly. Your engagement matters. When you like this message, when you share it with someone who needs clarity, when you comment declaring that you are staying aligned, you are reinforcing spiritual agreement. This channel exists to keep voices of truth flowing without dilution. Subscribe so you remain connected to messages that sharpen discernment and strengthen faith. Become part of this growing community, because what God is doing here is not casual, it is intentional. Your participation helps extend this word to those who may be on the brink of their own appointed moment. There will be moments when you wonder if you are doing enough. Release that question. Obedience is not measured by volume but by alignment. If your spirit remains steady and your conscience remains clear, you are on the right path. Archangel Michael affirms that heaven is not disappointed in you. Heaven is attentive to you. Another layer of trust is forming now, the trust to let go of outcomes. You are learning to do what is yours and release what is God's. Control weakens faith. Surrender strengthens it. This does not mean passivity. It means partnership. You move when prompted and rest when guided. You may also sense that certain conversations are coming to an end. Certain chapters are closing without drama. This is healthy. Closure does not always require explanation. Sometimes it simply requires acceptance. What is leaving your life now is making room, not creating loss. As this part unfolds, stay alert but not anxious. Expectant but not demanding. Open but not scattered. These balances protect you. Archangel Michael stands guard over this season, ensuring that what hath been entrusted to you continues to grow without interference. Hold on, because what unfolds next will connect past promises with present movement in a way that brings deep assurance. You will want to stay with this, because the next unfolding carries insight that many miss when they move too quickly. My dear one, Archangel Michael now brings your attention to a subtle but powerful shift that is taking place within you. This is the stage where confidence replaces hesitation, not loudly but steadily. You are no longer asking if God is involved. You are learning how He moves with you. This difference is important. Faith at this level is quieter, deeper, and far more resilient than before. You may realize that you are reacting less and responding more. Situations that once pulled strong emotions from you now meet a calmer version of yourself. This is not detachment. It is authority settling in. When heaven entrusts you with something powerful, it also strengthens your inner governance. Archangel Michael reveals that emotional stability is one of the greatest signs of spiritual growth. Storms may still appear, but they no longer control your direction. There is also an internal reordering happening. Priorities are shifting without force. What once felt urgent now feels optional. What once felt optional now feels essential. This is alignment expressing itself naturally. You are not being pushed into purpose, you are being drawn into it. That is how you know this is real and not self-driven. At this stage, doubt may attempt a different strategy. Instead of questioning God, it may question you. Thoughts like, who am I to carry this? Or what if I fail later? May surface quietly. Archangel Michael reminds you that these thoughts are not warnings. They are echoes of an old identity losing relevance. Do not argue with them. Simply continue walking forward. Confidence grows through movement, not contemplation. You may also feel a growing sense of responsibility toward how you speak. Words matter more now. Casual negativity feels heavier. Complaints feel out of place. This is because your words are aligning with what you carry. Heaven does not want power leaking through careless speech. Silence will often feel wiser than reaction. Choose it when needed. Relationships continue to adjust. Some deepen. Some fade. Some surprise you with new levels of understanding. This is not coincidence. Alignment attracts alignment. As you change internally, your external world responds. Archangel Michael assures you that no connection meant to support your future will be lost. Some connections simply cannot travel where you are going. You are also learning discernment around opportunities. Not everything that looks good is God. Not every open door leads forward. You will notice that true opportunities carry peace before excitement, clarity before urgency. If something pressures you to decide without prayer, pause. Heaven does not fear waiting. What is meant for you will not bypass you. This season may also bring moments of solitude, even when surrounded by people. Solitude is not loneliness when God is present. It is often where clarity sharpens. Archangel Michael indicates that these quieter moments are when heaven reinforces direction. Do not rush to fill silence. Let it speak. Your faith is becoming less emotional and more anchored. You are trusting God not because you feel inspired, but because you know Him to be faithful. This kind of faith does not collapse under pressure. It bends the depths and endures. You are becoming someone who can be trusted with consistency, not just moments. Pay attention to small confirmations. A timely word, a repeated theme, a sense of rightness that does not shout. These are heaven's fingerprints. You do not need dramatic signs to stay aligned anymore. Subtle guidance is enough because your sensitivity has increased. Archangel Michael also reminds you to guard against isolation disguised as focus. While boundaries are necessary, complete withdrawal is not the goal. Stay connected to those who sharpen you, not drain you. Community matters, especially as responsibility grows. You are not meant to carry this alone. There is also joy returning in unexpected ways. Simple moments feel richer. Gratitude feels more natural. This is a sign that your spirit is resting in alignment. Joy is not a reward for finishing the journey, it is fuel for continuing it. As you move forward, do not measure progress by speed. Measure it by peace. If peace remains, you are on track. If peace fades, pause and realign. Heaven is patient with adjustment. Archangel Michael emphasizes that correction is not condemnation. It is care. You are doing better than you think. Growth often feels invisible while it is happening, but heaven sees it clearly. Every quiet choice, every resisted distraction, every moment of obedience matters. What unfolds next will bring revelation about how this moment connects to promises spoken long ago. Stay attentive. Stay grounded. This journey is becoming clearer with every step you take. My beloved child, Archangel Michael now invites you to look backward only for a moment, not to dwell there, but to recognize a divine pattern that has followed you longer than you realized. Promises spoken in earlier seasons are beginning to echo again, but this time they sound different. They no longer feel distant or symbolic. They feel close, practical, and attainable. This is because you are no longer the same person who first heard them. Growth has positioned you to finally carry what once felt too heavy. There were words spoken over your life that seemed impossible at the time. Visions that felt too large. Instructions that felt unclear. Heaven never forgot them. They were not shelved or canceled. They were waiting for you to mature into alignment. Archangel Michael reveals that this current season is not a new story but a continuation. Threads that once seemed disconnected are now weaving together with precision. You may suddenly remember things you once prayed for and feel surprised, even humbled, that God is bringing them back now. This is intentional. Heaven revisits promises when the heart is ready to steward them without ego. What once would have overwhelmed you can now rest in your hands with balance. That is not coincidence. That is preparation fulfilled. This realization can stir deep emotion. Gratitude mixed with awe. Joy mixed with reverence. Allow it. These emotions are not distractions. They are confirmations. They remind you that God hath been present in every unseen step. Archangel Michael stands as a witness, affirming that nothing in your journey was random, even when it felt confusing. You may also recognize why certain doors closed in the past, why certain paths ended abruptly. What once felt like loss now reveals itself as protection. Heaven was preserving you for this alignment. If some things had worked out earlier, they might have cost you what is now being released. Timing was not withholding. It was mercy. As this awareness deepens, responsibility deepens as well. And knowing that God keeps His word invites you to keep yours. Integrity becomes even more important. Faithfulness in small things becomes non-negotiable. Archangel Michael emphasizes that legacy is built quietly, through daily choices that honor God even when no one is watching. This is also a season of quiet authority. You do not need to announce what you carry. It speaks through consistency, humility, and discernment. Others may begin to seek your perspective, not because you demand influence, but because peace surrounds you. That peace is evidence of alignment. Do not rush to finalize outcomes. Some promises unfold in stages. Partial fulfillment does not mean a complete faithfulness. Trust the process. Heaven unfolds revelation in layers so you are not overwhelmed. What you see now is enough for obedience today. Tomorrow's clarity will come tomorrow. Archangel Michael also brings a gentle caution. Do not romanticize the past or fear the future. Stay present. The present moment is where God speaks most clearly. When you remain grounded here, you stay responsive rather than reactive. As you reflect, let gratitude anchor you. Gratitude protects humility. Humility protects anointing. Anointing sustains impact. Disorder matters. Heaven honors those who utter the process as much as the promise. Now receive this activation with intention. Type "I walk in fulfillment" in the comments if this resonates with your spirit. Blessing code 1441 is now released over your alignment and obedience. And hear this as a sacred continuation, not an interruption. I am speaking directly to those who feel the weight and wonder of this moment and know it is bigger than themselves. When you support this mission through super thanks, membership, or a PayPal seed through the link in the description, you are not giving to a channel, you are sowing into a living stream. The Lord says as you release from your hand, I will release clarity, provision, and momentum from mine. This is seed meeting soil, light meeting readiness. Your act of support becomes a prophetic response, a declaration that you value truth and choose to advance it. I speak blessing over every giver now, declaring open heavens, strengthened discernment, and timely provision. Do not delay obedience, act, and let heaven respond. Beloved one, Archangel Michael now speaks to the inner recalibration that happens when fulfillment begins to touch reality. This is the stage where faith and responsibility meet in a very practical way. What once lived mostly in prayer and expectation is now influencing decisions, habits, and direction. This transition can feel subtle, yet it is profound. You are no longer preparing for alignment, you are learning to live from it. You may notice that your tolerance for confusion has decreased. Where you once tried to make sense of mixed signals, you now feel an internal resistance to anything unclear. This is not impatience. This is discernment maturing. Heaven sharpens clarity when it expects accuracy. Archangel Michael reveals that accuracy matters now because your choices carry greater weight than before. Small decisions are shaping larger outcomes. This is also a season where your inner authority is tested gently. Not through crisis, but through auctions. You may be presented with multiple good paths, each appealing in different ways. This is where wisdom is required. Good is not always God. The right path will not only look beneficial, it will feel aligned at the deepest level of your spirit. When you sense peace without strain, that is your signal. There may be moments when you miss the simplicity of waiting. Waiting feels safer because responsibility is minimal. Movement requires courage because it exposes intention. Archangel Michael reassures you that feeling the weight of responsibility does not mean you are unqualified. It means you are aware. Awareness is a sign of readiness, not weakness. You are also becoming more conscious of your influence. Words land differently now. Presence carries impact. This does not mean you must perform or posture. It means you must remain authentic. Heaven does not amplify what is false. It amplifies what is true and yielded. Stay grounded in who you are, not who you think you must be. There is an invitation here to refine discipline. Not rigid discipline, but intentional living. How you structure your time, what you allow into your mind, how you rest and recover, these things matter more now because they support longevity. Archangel Michael emphasizes that sustainability is part of stewardship. Burning out would not honor what heaven has entrusted. You may also sense that certain temptations have lost their appeal. Things that once distracted you no longer satisfy. This is not deprivation, it is elevation. When purpose becomes clearer, lesser things naturally fall away. Do not mourn what no longer fits. Release it with gratitude and move forward lighter. Another layer of trust is forming, the trust to move without immediate confirmation. You are learning to rely on what God has already spoken rather than seeking new validation for every step. This is a significant shift. Faith at this level does not need constant reassurance. It rests in relationship. Archangel Michael also speaks to resilience. Challenges may still arise, but they no longer shake your foundation. You recover faster. You process deeper. You respond wiser. This is growth made visible. Heaven celebrates progress, not perfection. Be mindful of your inner posture during success. When things go well, remain humble. Gratitude keeps success from becoming a snare. Remember where clarity came from. Remember who guided you when you could not see. Humility keeps the flow open. You may find yourself mentoring or encouraging others naturally, without effort. This is not a new assignment. It is overflow. When alignment is genuine, it spills outward. Let it happen organically. You do not need to position yourself as anything. Simply be faithful. There is also a renewed emphasis on listening. Listening to God. Listening to wise counsel. Listening to your own spirit. Noise is not your friend in this season. Stillness sharpens direction. Archangel Michael encourages you to protect quiet moments, because they are where recalibration continues. Do not rush outcomes. Some things are still unfolding behind the scenes. Heaven often completes what you cannot see before revealing what you can. Trust that progress is happening even when visibility is limited. As you continue forward, let peace remain your guide. Peace does not mean the absence of challenge. It means the presence of assurance. If assurance remains, you are aligned. What unfolds next will require you to actively choose trust over control. This next unfolding will stretch faith in a new way, not by asking you to wait longer, but by asking you to step forward with confidence. Stay attentive. Stay grounded. Stay willing. My chosen one, Archangel Michael now speaks into a turning point where trust is no longer passive but active. This is the stage where faith asks for motion, not haste, but decisive movement rooted in assurance. You are not being pushed into something unfamiliar. You are being invited to step fully into what has already been forming within you. The hesitation you feel is not fear of failure, it is the weight of significance. And significance always requires courage. There is a difference between waiting on God and walking with God. Waiting refines patience, but walking builds partnership. In this season, heaven is inviting you into partnership. That means you will sense prompts that require response. Small steps, clear nudges, moments where delay would feel heavier than obedience. Archangel Michael reveals that these are not tests meant to trip you, but confirmations meant to strengthen you. Each step taken in alignment reinforces your confidence and sharpens your discernment. You may feel an inner pull to finally address things you postponed, conversations you avoided, decisions you delayed, paths you circled but never entered. This is not pressure. This is readiness revealing itself. When God prepares you internally, external movement follows naturally. You are not forcing change, you are allowing it. That distinction matters. Be aware that stepping forward does not always bring immediate affirmation. Sometimes the first response is silence. Sometimes it is resistance. Do not interpret either as disapproval. Heaven often allows quiet so your motivation remains pure. Archangel Michael emphasizes that obedience does not require applause. It requires agreement. Agreement between your spirit and God's direction is enough. This is also a season where consistency will be noticed. Not overnight, but steadily. People may begin to recognize reliability in you. Stability. Wisdom. This is influence forming quietly. Influence built this way lasts because it is rooted in character, not charisma. You are becoming someone others can trust, even if they cannot explain why. And now, Let me speak directly to your participation in this moment. When you like this message, when you share it with someone who feels stuck or uncertain, when you comment to declare that you are stepping forward in faith, you are not engaging casually, you are aligning intentionally. Subscribe to this channel so you stay connected to words that sharpen clarity and strengthen resolve. This space exists to keep your focus clear in seasons where distraction tries to creep in. Your engagement helps extend this message to others who are standing at their own threshold. Here is something important you must remember as movement increases. You do not need to carry everything at once. Pace matters. Heaven is not asking you to sprint. It is asking you to walk steadily. Overextension leads to confusion. Alignment leads to endurance. Listen to your limits. Rest when needed. Strengthen rhythms that sustain you. You may encounter moments where old insecurities attempt to resurface as you move forward. This is normal. Growth exposes layers that were previously hidden. Do not be discouraged by this. Archangel Michael reminds you that exposure is not regression. It is refinement. Address what surfaces with honesty, then continue walking. Stopping would give old fears more power than they deserve. There is also an invitation here to release control over outcomes. You are responsible for obedience, not results. Results belong to God. When you focus on outcomes, anxiety increases. When you focus on obedience, peace remains. Choose peace. Peace is a compass that keeps you aligned even when the path curves unexpectedly. Notice how your prayers are changing. They are becoming simpler, more direct, more trusting. This is a sign of maturity. You are no longer asking God to convince you. You are asking Him to guide you. That shift opens space for clearer direction. Archangel Michael affirms that heaven responds quickly to surrendered prayers. Be mindful of comparisons as movement begins. Others may appear ahead or behind. Neither matters. Your assignment is specific. Your timing is intentional. Looking sideways will only pull you out of rhythm. Keep your eyes forward and your heart open. There may be moments when you feel stretched beyond comfort. Comfort is not the goal here. Growth is it. Stretching does not mean breaking. Heaven knows your capacity and expands it gradually. Trust the expansion. Before you move further, pause with me for a moment. What unfolds next brings a layer of clarity that many miss because they move too fast. Stay with this. Hold on, because this is where understanding deepens and direction becomes unmistakable. My beloved one, Archangel Michael now speaks into a space that feels both familiar and new at the same time. This is the phase where direction becomes clearer, yet humility must deepen. Clarity without humility can become pride, and heaven guards against that carefully. What you are stepping into now is not about elevation for display, but elevation for service. This distinction will protect you. You may notice that your confidence is no longer loud. It does not need to announce itself. It shows up as calm decision-making, steady resolve, and the ability to say no without guilt. This is a sign that authority has settled internally. Authority that comes from heaven does not strive for control, it rests in alignment. Archangel Michael affirms that this quiet confidence is one of the strongest indicators that you are walking correctly. There is also a refining of motives happening. Even good intentions are being purified. You may catch yourself questioning why you want certain outcomes, not in a condemning way, but in an honest way. This self-awareness is healthy. Heaven refines motive because motive determines longevity. When intention remains pure, endurance follows naturally. This is a season where wisdom outweighs impulse. You are learning to pause before responding, to listen before acting. Not because you lack courage, but because discernment has grown. Archangel Michael reveals that heaven often slows responses when impact increases. Precision matters more than speed now. You may feel a growing sense of responsibility toward truth. You are less willing to agree with things that feel misaligned, even if they are popular or convenient. This may create quiet tension in certain environments. Do not fear this. Alignment often requires gentle separation. Not isolation, but distinction. Light does not argue with darkness, it simply shines. Another shift you may notice is how you process challenges. Instead of asking, "Why is this happening?" you may find yourself asking, "What is this shaping in me?" This change in perspective is significant. It shows trust has deepened. You no longer see difficulty as interruption, but as instruction. Archangel Michael confirms that heaven uses both comfort and challenge to mature those it entrusts. You are also becoming more comfortable with incomplete understanding. Not everything needs immediate explanation. Faith at this level does not panic when answers are delayed. It remains steady, knowing clarity will come when it is needed, not before. This patience is not passive, it is confident. There may be moments when you feel unseen or underrecognized. Resist the urge to correct this. Heaven often hides what it is protecting. Recognition at the wrong time can expose what is still forming. Archangel Michael reminds you that obscurity is sometimes a shield, not a setback. Pay attention to how peace continues to function as your guide. Even when decisions are difficult, peace remains present when you are aligned. Anxiety may attempt to intrude, but it no longer governs. You are learning to acknowledge it without obeying it. This is mastery of the inner life, and it is essential for what lies ahead. This is also a season where your prayers carry a different tone. Less desperation, more agreement. You are no longer begging heaven to move. You are partnering with what heaven is already doing. This shift in posture accelerates clarity because it aligns you with God's perspective rather than your own urgency. You may also sense that certain desires are being reshaped. Some dreams are becoming more refined, more purposeful. Others are quietly fading. This is not loss, it is focus. Heaven does not remove desire without replacing it with something better aligned. Trust this process. What remains will be stronger, clearer, and more sustainable. Archangel Michael speaks now about resilience. You are stronger than you were, not because life became easier, but because your roots grew deeper. You recover faster. You learn quicker. You remain softer without becoming fragile. This balance is rare, and it is cultivated intentionally. Do not underestimate how far you have come. Growth often feels slow because it happens internally first. But heaven measures progress differently than the world does. Faithfulness weighs more than visibility. Consistency weighs more than applause. As you stand here, you are not at the end. You are approaching a culmination. Something is about to come full circle. What was prepared long ago is nearing its visible expression. This does not require striving. It requires readiness. Stay present. Stay humble. Stay responsive. What unfolds next carries a final confirmation, one that seals what has been building throughout this journey. Archangel Michael remains near, guarding the completion just as carefully as the beginning. My beloved child, this is the moment where everything settles into truth. Archangel Michael now speaks not with warning, but with confirmation. What was whispered at the beginning has matured into certainty. What felt like preparation has become positioning. You are no longer approaching the threshold. You are standing in it. This final unfolding is not dramatic on the surface, but it is decisive in the spirit. Heaven is not asking if you are ready. Heaven is acknowledging that you are. There is a quiet authority resting on you now. It does not rush. It does not prove. It does not compete. It simply knows. This is the authority that comes from alignment rather than ambition. Archangel Michael reveals that this is why the timing had to be precise. If this had come earlier, it would have required effort to sustain. Now, it rests naturally because you have grown into it. You may notice that fear has lost its voice. It may still attempt to appear, but it no longer convinces. You are no longer moved by imagined outcomes. You are grounded in present obedience. This grounding is what seals the blessing. What heaven places into steady hands remains secure. What is placed into restless hands spills. Your steadiness matters. This is also the moment where peace confirms what logic cannot fully explain. You may not have every detail mapped out, but you are no longer anxious about what you cannot see. Trust has replaced the need for control. Archangel Michael affirms that this trust is not naive. It is informed by every step you have already survived. There is a sense of completion here, but not an ending. Completion simply means the cycle has closed correctly. What began in obedience is now established in clarity. From here, growth continues, but without the same resistance. Momentum replaces tension. Flow replaces force. You may feel a deep gratitude rising, not just for what is coming, but for what did not happen. Paths that did not open. Doors that remained shut. Delays that once frustrated you. All of it makes sense now. Heaven was not withholding. Heaven was protecting alignment. Archangel Michael also speaks to legacy. What you carry now will influence others more than you realize. Not through preaching, but through presence. Not through instruction, but through example. People will sense stability, peace, and discernment in you. A is the overflow of obedience sustained over time. Do not rush to define what this looks like externally. Let it unfold. Definitions too rarely can limit what God intends to expand. Remain teachable. Remain grateful. Remain attentive. Heaven continues to guide those who remain listening. This is also a call to remain spiritually awake. Not anxious. Awake. Awareness keeps alignment active. Continue to honor quiet nudges. Continue to protect clarity. Continue to choose peace over pressure. These choices will sustain what has now been entrusted fully. Now receive this final activation with intention and reverence. Type "I walk in divine completion" in the comments if this message has settled deeply in your spirit. Blessing code 1212 is now activated over your obedience, clarity, and next season. And hear this as a sacred closing, not a separation. I am speaking directly to those who understand that what just unfolded is not content, but calling. When you support this mission through super thanks, membership, or a PayPal seed through the link in the description, you are responding prophetically to what God has stirred. This is not about giving money. It is about fueling the flow of truth, light, and timing for others who are still searching for clarity. The Lord says, as you sow into this ground, I will establish your steps and cause what you carry to flourish without strain. I bless every giver now, declaring open doors, protected timing, and sustained peace. Act in obedience, respond with faith, and let heaven mark your response as part of this divine moment.